Now to the running back waiver wire options, and we'll start with the guys that are on a bye there. Again, it's just Kansas City and Arizona that you're missing, but you don't have Clyde Edwards-Helaire or Darrell Williams. You don't have James Conner. And hopefully we get Chase Edmonds back some point soon dealing with that ankle injury. Let's go now to the running backs to add for this week. And this list is a little bit more exciting because you have the Jets' options of Ty Johnson and Tevin Coleman. Dontrell Hilliard's in a good spot if, in fact, Jeremy McNichols is out, because the Patriots have been really bad against pass-catching running backs. Hilliard just had 8 catches because of all the injuries at the wide receiver position for the Titans, so he could be very much involved from Ryan Tannehill. You got the Texans guys with a great matchup against the Jets. You got Boston Scott. You know that he has faced the New York Giants 4 times in the last 2 seasons. Makes sense because of the division matchups. He has 6 total touchdowns in those 4 games against the New York Giants, so maybe he's worth considering as a flex option this week. DJ Dallas, we told you, could have an opportunity maybe in the short term, maybe in the long term, based on the Seattle offense and how the running back situation is there. And then you have some of the backup options with Latavius Murray clearly being the best of that bunch, getting 10 carries in his return to action from the ankle injury that cost him 3 games, taking on the Chicago Bears in week number 11. All right, let's talk about the Jets. So, Dave, give me your take on Ty Johnson and Tevin Coleman. Who do you like better? Does format matter? And are you going to maybe start either one of Johnson or Coleman with Michael Carter out?
I'd feel okay starting Ty Johnson in half and full PPR leagues as a flex. I think he's going to get that opportunity with Joe Flacco. Flacco will still check it down a little bit to his running backs. I don't expect it to be anything like we saw earlier this year when Mike White was playing and they had that dink and dunk offensive attack. But I do think Ty Johnson will be in there on a lot of those passing down situations. That's what makes me a little more encouraged by him. Coleman is strictly a touchdown or bust proposition for me. I don't think we can expect a lot of explosive runs for him, even though he's taking on Houston. He might be good for 7 or 8 fantasy points, non-PPR or PPR. I think Johnson can beat that in full PPR.
Heath, the best matchup on the table is the Houston Texans taking on the New York Jets. But again, it's the Houston Texans taking on the New York Jets. They've allowed 21 touchdowns to running backs on the season. We saw a game where the Texans had a lead against the Titans, and David Johnson was miserable. 13 carries for 18 yards, did have a few catches in that game. Rex Burkhead had 18 carries, but 40 yards to go along with it. Can you trust a Texans running back even in that dream scenario against the Jets?
I feel a little bit better about it with Philip Lindsay not being a part of the equation, but I do think you're looking right at, like, hoping that you can get to what Ty Johnson's likely to give you. These guys are low-end flexes at best. Johnson would be my favorite just because he's the only one catching passes.
Dave, give me your take on Dontrell Hilliard if there is no Jeremy McNichols. So does he stay in that pass-catching role, and how much of a valuable commodity could that be, knowing that the Patriots, I think they're one of 7 teams that have allowed 70 receptions to running backs on the season?
I think he's very valuable in that regard. We saw it. We really didn't see it until the 2-minute offense, and then he got like 4 targets in a row. He did well with them, but later on he fumbled a catch that he had. He's not a perfect back. He had a drop earlier in that 2-minute drive. I think he'd be their passing downs guy. I'm not sure how many more carries he would get ahead of AP and Deontay Foreman combined. He might lead them in carries, but it might be 7, 8 carries like he had this past game. And this is all contingent on McNichols not playing. If McNichols plays, then everything's thrown up in the air. And I don't know if there's one Titans running back that I could fully trust.
And just to give you a little bit of an idea in terms of your fab budget, the quarterbacks, no one is worth spending any money on. 1%, tops, unless you're just desperate. 2 quarterback leagues a little bit different if you're looking at somebody like Joe Flacco or maybe just somebody that desperation type of play. But in terms of the running backs, same thing. Ty Johnson maybe up to 10%. Tevin Coleman, same thing in non-PPR. Hilliard, same thing in PPR. Nothing more than 10% for these guys.
You got to save the fab for wide receiver this week.
You don't really want, even the wide receivers. We'll talk about that in a second. But nothing that's really break the bank type of player, obviously based on the names that we showed you.